Hi again, everyone. If you're just tuning in, please be aware that there is a video that came out before this one that you should view first on a major parenting tip that I feel mostly new parents really need to know, mothers and fathers. This video is the second half of that one, and I'm just going to talk about a few examples of things that I was able to learn. I just took much longer than my siblings to learn those things, and it also contains just a few of my many tips on how to get your young child to learn things, what we're teaching and how we're teaching a daughter with PACC how to do things like crawling and talking. So first, I want to talk about bike riding. I did not get my training wheels off until I was in late elementary school. My older brother decided that I was getting way too big to have training wheels on, so he took them off one day and hid them without me knowing, and then told me that I basically had to stay in the driveway, and he made me ride in circles until I learned how to ride the bike. He stayed out there and taught me the whole time, and I remember I whined and complained and wanted to give up, and I fell many times, and our driveway was gravel, but he didn't give up on me, and he made me keep going, and I learned how to ride that bike, and I still know how to ride a bike. So very grateful to him for that, for not giving up on me. Also driving. I have a lot to say about driving, but I'm only going to give this quick little tidbit that here where I live, you can get your driver's license at the age of 16. And I did not get mine until I was close to 19 years old. Learning how to drive, there is a lot of parts to it, a lot of different parts, and it's easiest for someone with ACC to learn a few parts at a time, so it takes much longer. My siblings said that they learned within a few months of turning 16 how to drive and got their license, whereas it took me 3 years longer to get mine. But I still learned. I'm a great driver. I drive myself everywhere, drive my girls everywhere, and I even take long trips to visit relatives and things, and I take family, and I do great. But it did take me a long time to learn how to do it. Even swimming took me a long time to learn. We did have a swimming pool for a long time while I was growing up, but I either held on to the side of the pool, or my siblings said they would get annoyed because they had to carry me around, or I hung on to my mom's bathing suit straps until probably, I want to say it was probably close to middle school, which isn't very good. I don't know. But I'm still not a great swimmer, but I know how to swim by myself if I need to. And I am teaching my girls how to swim and having them take swim lessons. And then the last thing about me is reading music notes took me a really long time, which was always kind of a struggle because all of my siblings know how to play multiple musical instruments, and they're also all really good singers. And then there's me, who doesn't know how to play a single instrument, and I'm not a very good singer, unless you ask my kids, who don't judge me on my tune. They just love that I sing. And so, in school you learn how to, you take music classes. So every year in music class, I even did chorus for many years in elementary and middle school, and even a year in high school. And I was never really able to grasp an understanding on what the music notes meant, which is kind of sad because even my father was a music teacher for 14 years and I just wasn't getting it. It wasn't until I was a special ed teacher, teaching assistant though, in elementary school, and I had a 3rd grade student who I had to follow around, and he had music class. And it was then, one day, it was, broken down into small enough pieces that for some reason I was in my probably mid-late 20s, and it finally just clicked. I was able to understand how to read music. Now I just want to give a few tips on how we teach our daughter how to do a few things. To start, I want to talk about crawling. We started her by setting her on the floor how we wanted her, and we would push her knees up under her, and there were times when she did not want to be doing it and she would cry, but we would praise her for even keeping her knees under her for a few seconds. After a while, we started to move her arms and legs, even if it was just a couple of times, and we did other things like placing things in front of her that were interesting for her to watch, so it would encourage her to stay up on her knees because she would stay a little distracted, or getting toys that crawled. And then eventually one day our older daughter got down on her hands and knees and showed her how to crawl. She said to her, well, you get down on your hands and on your knees like this, and then you move your hand and your knee like this, and this is how you crawl. Okay, now you try it. Put your hand like this, and here's a toy, and you're gonna crawl for it. And our daughter did. She listened to her older sister, and it was just amazing. Another big thing we did was we basically overstimulated her on learning to count. My older daughter loves to have everything be a race. So, just getting a shirt on, we'd say, okay, you have 20 seconds. I'm going to count to 20 and see if you can pick out your shirt from your drawer and put it on, and then come show me before you get to 20. And we would count. And now my younger daughter with the ACC will count along with me because she thinks it's hilarious to yell these numbers down the hallway. She can actually, she's almost 22 months, and she can count to 14. And then, counting up, we also, behavioral techniques, I also count back from 5 when the kids aren't listening. And I'll say 5, 4, 3. And so my daughter can learn a little bit of counting that way. And another big one that I think started her on the counting was that we sometimes would play hide and go seek before bed inside our house, and we would just count from 1 to 10, and we'd, myself or my husband would be our younger daughter's partner, and we would say 1, say 2, say 3, and she would, after a while, started copying us. But now it's just it's a lot of repetition and overstimulation of constant counting, because for my older daughter, we count for everything because she loves it. Talking, we talk and sing, well, the girls do, in our family all the time. My siblings say I came out talking, and I totally believe them because I talk a lot. And then I got a taste of my own medicine with our oldest daughter, who talks and sings so much we're pretty sure that there are no thoughts in her head. They all come out. And we've even had nights where she literally sings in her sleep. So my younger daughter is just constantly hearing people talking and singing. I have a lot of different tips for teaching them how to talk and sing, and even with singing, I have tips on how to get them to memorize their name and their address and their phone number. But tonight I just want to talk about one major tip, which is how to get them to learn how to say words. And kids can all say short sounds. I like to call it chunking. And for an example, my older daughter wanted to teach my daughter with ACC how to say butterfly. So she asked her, Sissy, say butterfly. And she couldn't say it because it was a very long word. So my daughter, without any cues from me, but having heard me talk to my daughter with ACC about this all the time, says to her, Sissy, say ba. And she would wait until my daughter said ba. and then she would say, now say tur, and she'd wait till she said tur, and then she'd say, now say fly. And sometimes my daughter doesn't say the word, a part of the word right away, so my older daughter would tell her again, say fly. Sissy, say fly. So she never would give up on her. She would keep after her until she said it. Once she said all those pieces, she would say, okay, now say butter. And my daughter would put it together, butter. Now say fly, fly. And then she would make her put it together. Okay, Sissy, now say butterfly. And we make it so that we pronunciate enough that the child still hears the small sounds. Butterfly. And my daughter can do it. She would say butterfly. And that's how we teach her to say a lot of words. We chunk them. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is getting dressed. This is something we're working on with her right now, and she's almost 22 months old. And right now I'm having her help me learn how to pull up her diaper and pull up her pants. I do take her hands with my hands and I place them where I want them on the diaper, and then I put my hands on the back and I tell her, now pull. And she knows when I say pull, pull means to hike them up, and she will pull them up. And then I get her legs in her pants and tell her, okay, now we're going to do it with the pants. And I put her, she'll stand back up, and I put her hands on the pants in the front, and she waits while I put my hands on the back, and I say, pull, and she pulls them up. So those are just a few of the tips that I can give tonight for learning how to have your child hopefully learn easier, and to give you some ideas on how to keep practicing with them and being consistent and overstimulating. It really, really is great for them. Thank you again for watching. I hope you like the videos. Please feel free to leave some comments or feedback, and remember that this disorder does not define you. You define this disorder. Thanks.